So we were just talking about your experience of touring Hiroshima.
Yeah.
44 days.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, our ship docked at Kuri. That's the port that services Hiroshima. And Hiro-Wan, that's the bay. The word Wan means bay, so Hiro-Wan, Hiroshima Bay. See, it's shortened words. And when we docked at Kuri, they said you can have liberty. Kuri was not as devastated as Hiroshima was, but Hiroshima, they let us stand up in the back of this dump truck, let you see out real well from the back, and then just slowly traversed the city streets, which were just two piles of rubble, one on each side, that they had swept off, shoveled off to the side. There was no streets as such anymore, though. No buildings up except one or two, like I mentioned. And we were able to just see what all was there. Bathtub, a sink, and a toilet. And, it was a safe, I guess it was.
On every corner, you say, huh?
Well, not every, but
Yeah.
the ones that had businesses that would have that kind of equipment.
And you talked about the railroad tracks that you saw.
Yeah, railroad tracks would just be curled up like you'd curl something, curl on woman's hair or something. That just, the heat of the Holocaust survival showed that. We saw a few people meandering around. We assumed they were people who had lived there, and now there was no place to go home to, so they had a bag on their shoulder, and we assumed that it was just belongings, maybe, necessities that they had salvaged. But it was pretty bad.
How old were you then?
18.
Wow.
Yeah, I was 18 in April of 1945, and this was in, it would have been September or October of 45.
We were so young.
Oh yeah, too young to be scared of what might happen. Too young to worry about whether you were going to get killed or anything. That's one advantage of having an awful young army. They're all too dumb to know that this is danger.
Yeah.
It's not adventure.
When you look back on that time, what's your assessment about the bombing of Hiroshima?
Well, I've read quite a bit about it, and it seems to be pretty much a consensus of military people, both Japanese and American, that the dropping of the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki saved lives, because they predicted a death rate or serious casualties of 1 million people if they would have had to have an invasion.
Mm-hmm.
That would mean American troops, Japanese troops, American civilians, not many of them, but Japanese civilians. So it would have killed more people to invade than it did in dropping the bomb.
Yeah.
They've said the dropping of the bomb killed anywhere from 75,000 to 100,000. They're not sure about that, but it would have killed way more than them. I consider that I'm alive today because we did not have to invade Japan, but we were ready, and they were ready for us. They had large artillery on tracks going back into the hillsides all around Japan with camo on the outside of it, so that from the air you couldn't see what it was to bomb. So when they had their intelligence, and they knew we were coming, that was not a surprise attack on Japan. They knew where we would land, and they knew when, approximately. So if we would have started to land, and these boats were lowered from that ship, and then troops and equipment would be sent into the country on one of those boats. That's called an LCM. That stands for Landing Craft Mechanized. And that would have had the equipment and the personnel that would have then gone ashore, like you see on the footage of D-Day.